What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is June 25th, 2025. And the market is very much still open, not moving much at the moment, but that's okay. Today's video is going to be, I think I titled it One Trade Setup. And this video is more about my struggles with a day like today. Let me put it out there. I took one trade today. It was a 48.05% win. So it was a good day. But what made today unique and difficult for me, and again, I'm only sharing with you this because maybe you're similar to I am when it comes to feelings in the market, is that Qs are at all-time highs. Therefore, we have no targets high that are proven, even though the lines I drew today held, which is mind-boggling to me. We had a lot of divergence and all the things. So for me, as I explained to everybody in the group this morning, well, I'll show you. By the book. I thought I was getting away with that, didn't you? And join our Discord community. I'd love to have you. And it's fun to trade with other people. When you have a good day, we're there to support you. When you have a bad day, we're there to support you. It's a beautiful thing. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the charts and tell you where my struggles began and exactly why. For one, this pre-market in SPY is absolute garbage. It's garbage. Doesn't give me any confidence whatsoever. Very, very tight range. Very choppy. Not good. So I didn't like that at all. Qs being at all-time highs. And when I drew my lines this morning, it was still a very tight range. We did get out of it leading into the open. And I drew all four of these lines at 8:30 this morning. I just want you guys to take note of, again, so 30 minutes before I even drew these lines, look at what happens when we get there. 9:04, rejected. Next line up was at 542.77. Boom, boom, boom. All three rejected. Put in higher lows. So because of that, we'd expect that resistance to fail and head up to the next resistance. Look at this. Guys, I don't know if, and again, these are not proven levels of resistance prior to today because we're at all-time highs. There's no way to know where this is going to stop. So it's still mind-boggling to me. But besides that, I don't feel comfortable trading calls when I don't have known targets. So even though these resistances work, they've never worked before because they've never existed before. So I don't know that they're going to work until they do. Now, one would argue, but Jimmy, don't trade the levels, just trade the chart. And you should be right. I struggle with that. If I don't have a known target, then I feel a lot less comfortable about it. And that's the whole point of today's video and the reason I was looking for a very specific trade today. I had told everybody, we're not going to do a call put scenario today because I do not like what I see. Yesterday, I didn't like what I saw before the market opened. I did the call put scenario, and as a result, we had a red day in our community because the call put scenario works so often that people forget that sometimes it doesn't work. And so they'll blindly jump into these trades because we cross these lines and then it doesn't work and then we have a bad day. I told everybody I'm not falling victim to that today. I'm not doing the call put scenario today because I don't like the chart that I'm seeing right now. And I think that helped a lot of people because nobody jumped in on the first candle. And if they did, I hope it was calls, but it wasn't me, wasn't because of me. And we have a very, very green scorecard as a community today. It's like a 4 to 5 to 1 ratio right now, number of red trades to green ones. That means that patience, a little bit of willingness to wait for a good setup can generate winning trades. Okay, so that's the whole purpose of this conversation, on top of the fact that my feelings were preventing me from playing a trade that may have worked out for you. But I just want you to know that today I'm proud of myself because I forced myself to be patient. I didn't tempt myself with the call put scenario, and it worked out well for me. With that said, we started to move up and find resistances on the Qs at our second target high. Now, the downside here is, look at the aggressiveness that ADD was selling off over here. So number one, I'm not comfortable in calls because I don't know where my target is. But number two, the momentum that was small caps was nowhere near being in my favor, not even closely resembling being in my favor. So calls were not a thing for me. I kept acknowledging, guys, we're trending up on the Qs. I just can't do it. I can't do it because of a lack of targets, and ADD is completely going in the wrong direction. Therefore, for me, the only option today was going to be puts, and I made that abundantly clear on the way up. We did say, hey, and I'll admit this as well. While we are up here at 931, I said, guys, this resistance looked like it's holding pretty good, and with ADD being aggressive as it is to the downside, this would be a place, and SPY was at resistance as well, this would be a place that I would be interested in considering puts, hoping we make it back down to that blue pre-market high line. Okay? But I said, I'm not going to take it because today I'm more concerned about your money than I am my own. This is a risk that I'm willing to take. I'm comfortable taking it. Couple that with the fact that I'm interested in puts today. That all looked really good to me. I did not take this trade because I'm trying to be patient and I'm trying to help other people learn how to do this the less risky way. It's all risk regardless. But so I waited and I told everybody I was waiting. We did put in higher lows. We did continue up. We did make it through resistance. ADD continued to move down. SPY struggled to follow the same path as the Qs did. It did move up, but it was a very, very uncomfortable ride. As we're moving up, I was explaining to everybody, I'm only going to be able to take a put today. And if I don't get the opportunity with a good setup, I'm not going to take a trade today. And that's the one thing that many people struggle to understand, myself included. I've got to be willing to spot a chart that's not worth trading, and then more importantly, do something about it, which is do nothing. If you don't like what you see, don't do anything. It's better for you to lose and gain nothing than it is to force a trade and potentially lose or gain something. Okay? You got to get better at recognizing when you're not comfortable and then respect that feeling by not trading. That's what I was trying to do. But my favorite trade setup, if you've been watching my videos for these last couple of days and you're in my community and we went through a 20-minute dissertation about this exact setup, and I tell you guys, you watch for it, you start to spot it, you will see that it has an extremely high win rate if you wait for the right setup. Today was no different. When I am understanding that we are trending up, puts are not an option for me at that point, okay? They're not. When do puts become an option? Number one, not until we at least close below, in this case, this upward trend line. And that doesn't mean we jump into puts right then. It just means calls are no longer an option. But if puts are something you're looking for, you need to start thinking before this happens, okay, if we know when calls are no longer a choice, and we want to consider looking for a put, what criteria needs to be met to actually take the put? You need to plan this and know that answer way before it happens. I knew I wanted to play puts today before I had the chance to take puts. And I knew what I wanted to see on the chart that needed to happen and what needed to be lined up properly before I would take those puts. Okay? For me, my favorite trade setup is not only a break of the trend, but if we could take out the most recent support in this case, so I announced it out loud, we'd have to break the uptrend and we'd have to get below 542.77. And from there, I'd be expecting that move to continue down to the next support, which was 542.36. Okay? So a 40-cent move. That's all I'm looking for. Do I hope to get more? Absolutely. Am I going to get more? I have no idea. We'll have to see how it goes after we get the opportunity to even enter the trade. Because the reality is, if you don't know when to get in the trade, then you don't get to take advantage of what it may offer, as much as that number is or as little as that number is. You've got to be willing to get into the trades, but you have to know what you're getting into before the trade happens. If you get in after we've already made the move, it's too late. That's when you buy the bottom and you end up getting stuck buying puts on support, and that's the time the support's going to hold. So, even though we closed below the trend line and ADD was dumping, we never even touched the support, let alone breached it. If we would have, and I told everybody this, if we would have breached this support at this point, I probably would have taken those puts because ADD was already going down, and I would hope that it was going to produce a move to continue down. And if it didn't, we could talk about the what ifs all day long. I don't know what would have happened if we would have breached it at this point. I don't know if it would have held and bounced back up. I don't know if it would have broke and kept going down. But I know that that's the things I needed to see in order to take the trade. So I had puts queued up already. I announced we broke the trend line. Guys, if we can get through this line, I'm going south. ADD's already doing the things I wanted to do. I'm hoping the break of that support carries us down to the next one. Very, very simple concept. Is everybody going to take that trade? No. Are a lot of people waiting to take that trade? Absolutely. Why? Hopefully because they feel as comfortable about it as I do. Hopefully it's not because I said I'm going to. And hopefully it's because they recognize that momentum's in their favor and that the win rate is very, very high on this setup when you wait for the proper entry. We didn't get through it. We didn't even touch it. We put in a higher low, and we do make it up to and briefly through the next resistance, only to pull back. Right here, I'm saying, okay, guys, we have not continued the uptrend. Same setup, just 7 minutes later, because this was happening at 9:41. I'm looking at the same trade, waiting for it to meet the criteria. 6 minutes later, in this case, sorry. I don't care what SPY is doing. I care about what the Qs are doing. Okay? We breached this line. ADD printing red. I'm getting in. Now, I didn't get in on the close or on the breach. I got in it when it pulled it because it breached and quickly started to pull back. At that moment, I was feeling like, oh man, did I jump the gun here? But I knew what I wanted to see. ADD was showing me what I wanted to see. We crossed the line I wanted to cross. We were no longer trending up because we broke the uptrend. That's all the criteria I was looking for. And it was a put. And I'm looking for a reasonable move down, 40 cents. That's it. We had an alert there and everything. You could see it. It's right there. Okay? Got into this trade. Happened to be during a portion of this pullback. Okay? Because I wanted to go. Just that's when I got filled. Then we continued down. We closed below the line. So not only did a lot of people get in here, the rest of them who were going to take this trade got in. We closed below support, which is fine. Still plenty of room to go. Okay, we don't know if it's going to continue down. That's not the point. The point is we saw what we needed to see. This was an A+ setup. We took the trade. Simple. Doesn't guarantee a win, but that's what we were waiting for. A lot of people didn't take their first trade of the day until here. And I'm happy about that, including myself. Got into the trade. It started to print red. We stayed below that support, kept it as resistance. We made it right down to and through that support because we closed below that support. I'm now expecting it to move down to the next support, which was the pre-market high line. Now, admittedly, I tried to hold on to this trade a little bit longer. It was holding. We recognized that it was a very strong support level on the Qs in pre-market. We bounced off of it, started to regret my decision, but held on. Why? Because ADD is still printing red. So I'm hoping that the momentum that carried us through the previous resistance is going to get us right back down to the same support we just bounced off of. And it did exactly that. And it bounced off of it again, but not nearly as violently as it did here. So now I'm thinking, man, this is starting to look good. If we can get through this red box of death, as I called it, we might see a quick pop down. We'll hopefully go down to 541.35. And I want to tell you that number comes from right here. Okay, this support right here. Is it a big move from 65 to 35? No, it's 30 cents. But if you're already in the trade, that extra 30 cents can pay you a lot more money. But I wouldn't get into a fresh put here because of the level of congestion that existed there. So we were hoping for a move below the red box because I said if we get through the bottom of that box, we might see a quick pop down to that level. Now, as unluck, I don't even say it was luck. Because we were bouncing off of this, now I'm considering putting in a mechanical stop, which I did, and I'm thankful I did. And I told everybody this while it was happening. Said I'm going to get myself out of this trade because ADD is now starting to print green. We've hit this level of support for the third time. I don't like it. And we're getting closer to 10 o'clock. We still had 8 minutes, so that was less of a factor. But fortunately, I had a mechanical stop in. I did give up an okay amount of extra profit by waiting and hoping for more. It didn't work, but things changed. Things changed. We're on support, a strong one at that. We failed to get through it twice. We poked through it on this candle. ADD starts printing green. I get stopped out mechanically. That was a great trade for me. It felt comfortable the entire way down, and I was happy with what I achieved. That was my only trade. I got to play my puts. I planned it way in advance. I knew that if I didn't get the opportunity, I was not going to take any trades today. And that was it. It had nothing to do with a bias. It was more my lack of confidence to where we might stop moving up if I were to play calls. It was the fact that ADD was going the complete opposite direction while Qs were moving up, so divergence. I just needed to see things converge, and when it did, it worked out wonderfully. With that said, we pulled back, okay? We pulled back, didn't make it to the highs that we had made, so this was just a big pullback. We never put in a lower high, so in this move, I'm expecting it to make its way all the way back up here. It didn't, which makes this a lower high. Lower highs are bad for calls. So once again, wait for proper setups, recognize that lower highs are bad for calls so that that's not a choice for you. Find a reason to take puts. In this case, those reasons wouldn't be until we get back below the most recent support. Now, you could have played all the way up here, would have been uncomfortable because ADD was still moving up. But what happens when we get through that support? ADD is printing red. We're expecting it to go from support A right down to support B. Here's your trade candle. Okay, you're hoping to get down here, and it did that. It held that support again, puts in a lower high. Lower highs are still bad for calls. You don't want to be buying calls. And we're past 10 o'clock now, so that was less of an option or a worry. And you got to start wondering, the closer we get to this strong support area and congested area, there's less room to move to make money. So you don't want to be buying pullbacks when you're 10 cents off of what's been holding as support. But lower highs typically mean we're likely to break supports, not hold them. And if ADD is in your favor, take the risk. Now, I said loud and clear, even though in this case it would have been good to do it, I don't like the area of congestion that we have between these three pre-market lines. I would personally feel better if we put in a lower high closer to the bottom of the box, but definitely would want to wait for a breach of the bottom of the box at best. Okay. Again, if you're prepared, you recognize the lower high, you recognize that ADD has picked up its momentum to the downside, you're ready to get into puts even before the breach of the line, and you know where we want it to go, which was 35. So again, a 30-cent move. Guys, this candle pays you about 15% on your money in less than a minute. You just got to be ready, and you got to be willing to take those profits because you have to respect the fact that support often holds unless there's extenuating circumstances that would allow it to not hold. Okay? Like momentum. So if you held on here, nothing wrong with that. What's the rule? As long as we stay below the support that we just broke, yeah, we want that to become resistance. We hope ADD keeps printing red. When we touched it again, I reminded everybody, hey, ADD is still printing red. We're still below that resistance. If you're still hanging on, maybe put a stop loss at break even so that if it doesn't push lower, you don't get stuck. Okay. Unfortunately, the very next candle, ADD starts printing green, putting pressure on this. You wouldn't want to hold through that if you're pulling back and crossing your line of stop loss with ADD printing the wrong color. Meaning if you're holding on to puts, you got a green candle breaching your stop loss with ADD printing green. I don't wait for a candle close in that situation. I stop out for the loss, small one, hopefully, or none at all. Maybe you're at break even. That's fine, but that's the difference for me. And thankfully, it continued. Not thankfully, but if you respect that rule, you got out before it got really painful. Okay. After that, we had a break of the downtrend line. Does that mean calls? No, it just means puts come off the table, wait for higher lows, all the things. I told everybody, just like the downside, I said, if we can close above the red box, we'd be assuming that it would make its way up to the next resistance left, which is right around that orange line. Now, in this situation, very, very strange. We did close above it here, and it held as support for the most part and made it to that spot. Now, I would have been very, very uncomfortable in this trade because it was very, very slow, very wicky. The market started to feel heavy. Now, NVIDIA was carrying the market today. Palantir was at 1.2, but Palantir doesn't carry the weight that the rest of the market does. After that, guys, it just became really uncomfortable for trades. But if you follow the same rules, I had somebody make some good money on this trade right here. The pullback, right? If we're trending up, wait for a break of the trend line, wait for a break of support. As long as there's room to go from support A to support B, you take the trade. If support B is too close to support A, you have to wait for the break of support B, which in this case would have been here. Where would you be looking for it to go after breaking this support? Down here to that 35 level again, which it got to, and this time it got through and continued down to our next support, which is where we had our final level of beep waiting for Steven to take out. Ever since then, we're doing more sideways trading than anything. ADD is kind of just floaty right now. ADD opened at almost zero and now is currently at minus 1,000. That's a lot of selling off over the market. With that said, that's all I got, guys. I don't know if this was helpful to you in any way. I tried to explain everything that was going through my head today, not just to you in this video, but to the people in our community. It's not that I can't accept the fact that the markets are at all-time high. I'm very happy that they are, because for the TDS people out there and the tariff-hating people and all that stuff who thought that we were going to go into this depression because all you do is follow the mainstream media, well, this is a nice, maybe panic less situation for you. With that said, I still don't know where the moves might struggle to continue higher. Now, the fact that we've pulled back today after reaching all-time highs makes me feel good, because tomorrow when I do my charting, assuming we don't go from here and make all-time highs again today before close, I'll have known levels of resistance to use as my targets to the upside tomorrow. That will make me more comfortable about trading calls if we see the opportunity to do so. So with that said, we're going to wrap it up. I hope you found some useful information in this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. If you would like to join my Discord community, I would love to have you. As always, the link is down in the description below, or you can go to discord.gg/trading decoded, all one word. That will bring you there as well. Also, buy my book. There's a lot of good stuff in there, I promise. A lot of helpful information. Whether you trade with me or trade my style, I don't think that really matters. What you can pick up information-wise out of that book can absolutely help. Any strategy that you're trading will help you be able to read charts and understand price action in a way that can't possibly hurt what you're doing. It can only help, okay? And for those of you out there who made good money today because you were patient, kudos to you. It feels good. I'm glad I was able to do the same, and I hope you did as well. If you lost money today, learn from the mistakes, much like we talked about yesterday. And for the rest of you, if you blue booked it, nothing wrong with that either. You didn't gain and you didn't feel any pain. It's a beautiful thing. With that said, till tomorrow, I love you guys. Thank you for watching. See you.